Hey, what's up? And welcome into Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for downloading the podcast and checking us out on YouTube, youtube.com. Look for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment to everything we do on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, presented to you by Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago. NHSchicago.org is where you go. If you're looking to be able to get out of that stuffy apartment, get out of that loft that costs way too much, but you want to start planning your routes, I want you to go to nhschicago.org. Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago. They've helped my family. They can help yours as well. And it helps you with the home buying process, learning about how to buy a home. So go there, nhschicago.org for Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago. You know, we're right around the corner from the NFL draft. And of course, every week we're going to get you ready for the NFL draft with Darius Brockett from SiriusXM College Sports Nation. Also has his own YouTube channel, youtube.com. Look for Brocketology. Look for Brockett Media, Brockett, Brockett Media. The young man will join us coming up in a little bit to talk a little bit about wide receivers in this edition of Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. We'll get to defensive linemen as well and some other positions around the National Football League with our draft preview. I'd like to remind you, we'll have our own draft show taking place on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. We'll have our own draft show. It's going to be great. The day of the draft in the first round, when the Chicago Bears are getting ready to draft their first round pick, we'll have coverage right here. So make sure that you tell everybody else and make sure that you're here for draft night as we get you ready for the NFL draft and see what the Chicago Bears are going to do. Bears have some holes to fill. There's no question about that on that defense and the secondary. What you want to do on your offensive line. So a lot of questions, and we'll have plenty of guests and plenty of conversation about that as we get closer and closer to the draft. But first, let's take a look at the wide receivers in the draft with Darius Brockett right here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, presented to you by Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago. All the coverage that you need for the draft, it will take place right here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. At first round, we'll have all the coverage for you right here. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and comment to everything we do at Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Let's take a look at the wide receivers in this year's upcoming draft. There he is. It's Darius Brockett from SiriusXM College Sports Nation. Also from YouTube, youtube.com. Look for Brockett Media. Brocketology is with us here as we take a look at the wide receivers. Sir, as always, appreciate the time.
No, it's great. I'm glad we're doing receivers today. I love this class. And I love where we're about to go. I love this group of guys. So this is going to be really fun.
Is there a theme for the wide receivers in this year's draft, Darius, that stand out to you most?
Explosiveness. I think the explosiveness of these guys who can take a 8-yard dig route and can turn it into a house call at any given moment. They have the hands, they have the IQ, they have the awareness and the size. I know a lot of these guys will look at and we'll talk about. People will like say they might be on the smaller side in terms of like the framing of their body, but they're some big guys. Like they can go up and win a 50-50 ball. So a lot of these guys are my 50-50 guys that I love to have as a nice little X receiver, bring back the little slot fade, bring back just the fade in the red zone. These are the guys that I love here.
All right, Darius, let's take a look at your list. At the top, you have Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. That's number one. What do you like most about Jordan Tyson?
It goes to his size, right? We look at him, he's 6'2", 200 pounds. He obviously is going to put on a little bit more weight, but it's his ability to go up and grab a ball. He wins the 50-50. That's one thing you never have to question with him. He has great separation with DBs. He didn't have the best year. He dealt with a lot of injuries this year, especially on the hamstring. But the first thing that blows your mind off is his separation. He knows how to get off a DB. He knows how to get off a route. He knows how to get off the line of scrimmage. But then even if it's a simple comeback, a simple drag, he finds a way to get open. And that's where the separation becomes its best asset. Again, he has great spatial awareness. He has great feet. Only thing that bothers me is sometimes his body control. Is he going to be able to get 2 feet down in the NFL instead of just a 1 foot down? But again, that's a rule every kid has to adjust to. That's most things that they have to take. And we don't see him. He doesn't rush. Like a lot of receivers, it feels like they have to take 4 or 5 extra steps to get in and out their breaks. He doesn't rush. He knows where he wants to go. He's very decisive. His shoulders are always square. He makes DBs guess almost everything they need. And again, I get it. Most people will say, well, this is the Big 12. Those DBs aren't the SEC or the Big 10, but there's some pretty good DBs that come out of that conference. There's some pretty great guys that come out of there. So I love him. I think one of the best things about him is he's a vertical threat, and that's something you don't see a lot in this version of the NFL because we're starting to see a lot of quick game. Sometimes you still need a receiver who can stretch it deep, but he's also he wins the 50-50 ball. So not only does he take the top off downfield, you can trust him with that deep post route like you could a Calvin Johnson or a Larry Fitzgerald. And I'm not comparing him to those guys. I'm just saying
Sure.
when you have trust in a receiver who can make a safety and a cornerback split the difference on those guys and win that 50-50 ball if it has to hang in the air a little bit, you get that version. And oddly enough, I see him as a AJ Green style of a guy. He's going to have some injuries. That's what you're dealing with. His only concern with that is his health. Outside of that, he has some of the most reliable hands I've seen on the field.
Jordan Tyson, Arizona State. We move on to number 2 on your list. And again, you can go to youtube.com, look for Brockett Media. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be abreast of what DB has regarding his draft list. You have number 2, Makai Lemon, the wide receiver from USC. What do you like about Lemon?
Route running. One of the things that's very underrated in the modern game of the NFL, unless you have a Swiss Army knife, like you guys, like a Tyreek Hill, everyone will know is speed. But then you go to a guy like Terry McLaurin, and what's the first thing you think of is, oh, he knows how to run a route. He gets in and out those breaks. He has great hands, great separation. But also, one thing that people don't talk about is that he was used in the special teams unit at USC when he first got there. So he could be a Swiss Army knife. I know his size may not show a lot, and I know that's the concern when people talk at him. A 5'11" guy only coming in at $195. He will get bigger, obviously, is just the way the natural progression of the game. But he has what I say out of most of these receivers, he has rack ability. Rack ability. Just how when we talked last week where I said quarterbacks love to throw a good rack ball, run after catch ball. That's all they can do. Makai Lemon has that in his bag. He can take a drag route and take it up to the field. And again, these are my proper comparisons, but when you look at his style of play, he's not going to be freakishly athletic. He's not going to be the guy that jumps off the screen when you see him. You're just going to look at him like, who's this little guy? The problem that comes in him is he may look like a slot guy a lot, but when I watch him play, I see Jarvis Landry. I see Jarvis in Cleveland. He has that physical ability, and he gets aggressive. He gets in those DB's faces. He pushes them off the line, and it's like, oh, okay. He makes his presence known at all times, just like what Jarvis did when he was at Miami and those years in Cleveland. He's going to make his presence be known, and he'll be able to take a simple drag route and get a first down. He's definitely going to be a reliable slot weapon that can become a outside receiver. He may not be your X guy, but he would definitely be a great Y if you pair him up with the great guy. And I always think of the Jets. I know we're not talking about landing destinations yet, but just the mindset of you have Garrett Wilson on one side, you have him on the other, or you have formations and packages that put him and Garrett together. You're gonna be scared because one of your DBs is not going to be able to keep up. And if you put him in a slot, a linebacker is definitely not going to keep up, which is going to force a lot of people to have to stay in that nickel defense just so they can have someone to watch eyes on them or have to stay in zone for majority of the game because of that explosiveness off the line of scrimmage, because of that great route running ability and to sit in those pockets of the defense and just sit and look for the ball.
Darius, let's talk about a homeboy from Chicago. Let's talk about Carnell Tate from Ohio State. You talk about size, right? Exactly what you're looking for at 6'3".
Yes. All right. So this was hard for me. The first 3 guys have always been hard because everybody has it 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3. It varies, right?
Yeah.
Here's my argument for Carnell Tate. Could he be an X receiver? Most likely. But all his career, he's been a number 2. He was paired up with Chris Olave. He's paired up with Jeremiah Smith. It's really hard for my mind at this current moment to see him outside of a number 2 receiver. Doesn't mean he doesn't have that ability. But again, 6'3", 195, Mr. Go up and go get it, Mr. I can fight for everything, and it's worth it. It's not a problem. He has fast feet. He has great high point ability. He can locate the ball very easily. We've seen him do it at Ohio State recently where they're just checking the ball deep to him. And if he gets open, he gets open. If he doesn't, sometimes you say that's okay too. He finds a way to win that matchup, and I'm never scared about him. However, my concern for him is his route tree, not because of can he run these routes, but because the Ohio State offense was very simple with him and that whole new offense. It was very revamped. It was very simple under Julian saying you didn't need him to have to go run a post. You didn't need him to run a post. You didn't need him to run a corner. You didn't need him to run a post corner. Sometimes you just had him run a comeback. Sometimes you had him run a curl. Sometimes it ran a drag. Sometimes you just ran a simple go ball. That's what concerns me. But again, it's not because of him. It's because of the offense that he was playing in. One of the things I think is probably the most underrated thing about him is his late hands. Everyone should know about having late hands as a receiver, and you could tell he worked on it from start to finish. DBs will have eyes glued to him, and his hands will come up at the very last second, right there in the back of the end zone. He knows where he's at. He knows where his heels are. He knows where his toes are. He has the same rack ability as all these other receivers, but it's his late hands that will be a problem for everybody in the league. If you guard him and you don't know where his eyes will lie, gentlemen. His eyes, like they always say, the eye in the sky don't lie.
Yeah.
Well, the ones in his head will, because he will make you think that ball is not coming at all, and he'll be right there at the very last second and put those hands up, and now you got 6 points on the board.
Over 2,100 yards of production from the kid from Mississippi. Chris Bell from Louisville is on your list at 6'2", 220. So you have him at number 4. Tell us why.
Size, frame, explosiveness. He's a strong runner. He finishes plays. He's tough to bring down. I think he probably is the most underrated out of these 5. He's the one that you're not going to get a lot of name on him. He's not going to be a first-round guy. He may be a second or third-round guy. And hell, some people have him as a fourth-round guy because of his health and everything else. He's coming off an ACL injury.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot that goes into it. But again, the NFL game is missing some of those freak athletes that you just need as an X. That may not be the most consistent with the speed, but they will get open. They will be physical. He makes the massive plays. Think of the game against Miami. That guy had damn near the entire receiving yardage for that Louisville offense. And people look at me and I'm probably saying this like, how could he say this? No, that's the truth, guys. Like, he dominated that entire game. It was like, go find him. He goes on a drag route. He goes on a cornerback route. He goes on a comeback. He finds the in route. He finds an out route. He knows where his feet are. He knows how to play. He has soft hands. He has a great field awareness. He knows where to sit in these zones. And for a big guy, you would think it's hard to hide, but he makes it work. He's not going to be your number 1 guy, but he can learn and develop it. But when I watch him play, I see a lot of Keenan Allen in him. He's going to be physical. He's going to push you off the line. He's going to find little spots to sit in, because Keenan was never the fastest guy on the field for the Chargers. He was never the fastest guy even for the Bears. But for some reason, Keenan always found a way to get the ball in his hands, and he always found a way to catch what should be a 4-yard gain and turn it into a 6 to 8 yard gain. And if you need a first down, everyone's going to look for Chris Bell. Everyone looks for Keenan Allen. I get it. It's a far comparison when people don't mirror it and don't match it at the same time. But go watch him play. The 6'2" frame is there. The size is there. But just watch how smart he is. Watch the instinct that he has. He has great ball tracking ability. But again, that patience to find the hole in the zone and sit is what separates him.
Chris Bell from Louisville, man, if he has that kind of career like a Keenan Allen, I mean, that's damn near Hall of Fame career, because that's got longevity and numbers to match.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So lastly on your list here at number 5, you have KC Concepcion from Texas A&M. What do you like about KC in that number 5 slot?
He's by far the most undersized on this list, but he is the most explosive playmaker on this list. Not because of what he can do with the ball in his hands or waiting for it to touch his hands. It's what he just presents the moment he steps out there. People are scared of his speed. People are scared of where he lines up at. He's probably the most durable out of all these receivers. And when I say durable, I don't mean health concern wise. I mean literally put him at X, put him at Y, even put him at H, and then you can motion him out. You have a lot more of your package when you see KC Concepcion on that field. He has great vision. He's a very elusive runner. He runs like a gazelle, and that is something that everyone talks about when they looked at Jalen Waddle when he first came out. That's something people talk about, Tyreek Hill and all these smaller, nimble guys. But he's very dangerous in open space, and I think that's part of the reason why a lot of people look at him as a great option. He's definitely a first-round pick, maybe a earlier second-round guy, but he's a dangerous guy. First step is by far the most dangerous. He has this move, and I wish people will understand this when I demonstrate it. And if you again, the way the camera set up, you guys can see my shoulders. He has this one move where he just ever so gently dips that shoulder underneath, which a lot of veteran receivers use it. But the way he gets underneath those hands when DBs go to press and still finds the way to hook off, it's one of the most beautiful things, because how fast his feet are and how twitchy he is, where he doesn't need to do the chop your feet move that they used to teach us in high school football. Chop your feet, left, right, go. He's like, nope, I'm just going to take one step forward, dip underneath, and then I'm just going to keep my head down and push. and it's hard to match up with him down the field. He tracks the ball very well. He's another deep vertical threat that stretches defenses that make you have to guess where he's at on the field. Again, is he a number one receiver? Probably not right now. Probably not right now. I can often attest to that. But again, if you pair him up with the right guys, and hell, even if you're the Steelers, you have two giants on either side of the field, and then you can
Yes.
just put him out there as slot, and then you can just go, "Hey, we're going to disguise you, we're going to hide you, but you will find a way to get open, and you will take any route that you get, and any linebacker that's on you, any little DB that has to play nickel because they can't play man to man all day has to cover you. You will find a way." This guy is so fun to watch. And for people, if you haven't watched Casey Concepcion, or all you know is the Twitter clip of when he was stuttering and things like that, you're getting a full-fledged athlete when you get him. You can do your jet sweeps with him. You can put him in a backfield. He is your Swiss Army knife, but God, is he going to be amazing on the outside of the field. And he has a DB shaking in his boots that you're scared of him going down the field for a deep ball, scared of him going for a corner route, a comeback. You are just going to be scared if you are on an island with this man because how elusive and twitchy he is. And do not let it be a short route. And he has about 5 yards of space between you guys. You might as well just dive at the dust.
You mentioned that the first three are interchangeable, however you want to have it. But how difficult was it for you to be able to put the the 4 and 5 together? Because there's always an outside looking in. Is there someone that you were like, man, maybe this person deserved to be on the list, but they just didn't make it?
No, not really. This list was more so top heavy. And it's not
Okay.
that this class of receivers are terrible. I think it's really good. It's just once you get out of the first round or the first two rounds, you'll start seeing a lot more number two receivers that come off the board. Like
Mhm.
even Miami's Chase Daniels, you'll start looking at those guys and you're like, oh, he's cool, but he's not number one. Even Ole Miss has a couple receivers that you look at that are really good receivers, but they're not number one. I think a lot of people are hoping to find the Ryan Williams and the Jeremiah Smiths, and they're looking ahead to next year with this receiver draft class, but it doesn't mean the depth overall of this receiving room isn't terrible.
Darius, we're going to need running backs and we're going to need defensive line, especially for our viewers and listeners in Chicago. They're going to need your expertise. There's a need
I'm
there.
ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Let's the running backs. Whew. I I'll tell you this, the running back list that I put together, when I dropped it, I probably got the most flack about it because everyone is going to mention, well, where's this guy and where's that guy and where's this guy? Running back was probably the only one I looked at and I was like, do I like this list? No, I could change it. Do I like this list? No, I could change it. And then I finally settled on a list where I was like, hey, someone's left off.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he's not a first round talent. I just wanted to dive deeper for a more hidden gem of the draft class with this running back room. That is it. It's not that I hate one guy more or the other. I just had to dive. I just chose to dive deeper and put this guy here. He deserves some love.
All right. So the running backs will be coming up next. And where can people find your draft list and all of the work that you put in for this upcoming draft?
Instagram, TikTok, sometimes X, YouTube, Brockett Media, Brocketology. I have a lot that's out there now. And I am slowly but surely I'm working on getting prepared for the draft itself. I will not put together a mock draft. Why? Because that is so many people. And every time I put someone here, I forgot that I drafted them earlier in the third round and now I have to move things around. I don't have that in me this year. This year,
Okay.
no. However, there's a lot of guys. I'm working on a video on the depth of the draft class and the hidden gems that you can find in those second and third rounds and somewhat even the fourth round. And a lot of it is on the defense side of the ball. So for those Bears fans, you guys have a lot of picks this year. I'm rooting for you guys to have the best draft. There's a guy by the name of Harold Perkins. I will throw that name out now. So
Okay.
when we get here next week and we start talking, hey, just consider him. Harold Perkins, second or third round. It'll work out, but you got to have the right pieces to put him somewhere at the linebacker spot and move him around to play a little bit of nickel. Harold Perkins, just make that a name that you want to watch out for. I think he will be great. He fits the scheme. He's physical. He's agile. He is what Isaiah Simmons, what we hoped him to be when he first got drafted out of Clemson, to be that Swiss Army knife. He is what people are looking at with Sonny Styles when they talk about, oh, you can move him anywhere on the field. That's all he did in college because the first year of Brian Kelly, they didn't know where to put him at. And they were just like, oh, we're going to make him an edge rusher. Then the second year, they said, we're going to make him linebacker. Then within his third and fourth year, they're like, before he got injured, they're like, oh, let's convert him into a hybrid, and we'll have some formations where he has his hand in the dirt, and then there's some formations he's standing up, then there's some formations we have to drop him in cover too, and he did really well at it. His numbers aren't going to wow anybody when you look at it on the last season because of the injury, but if you look at his full body work, you're like, okay, this fits. When you want to have a guy, versatility is starting to become the name of the game, especially in defenses across the board. Everyone wants to copy what Baltimore did with 3 safeties. Everyone wants to start looking at what the Bears were on the verge of doing when they first made that trade for Montez Sweat, and they were going to go with the 3 edge rushers at one point. It just didn't pan out. Everyone wants to copy what the Rams are starting to do. So it's a copycat league, but versatility is always the name of the game. Everyone wants to see what the Steelers are doing. Defenses always wins championships. Harold Perkins is a guy who can win you a championship, in my opinion.
All right, man. We're going to talk next week because we got to start filling in some of this depth chart with some of these names. So, as always, I appreciate it.
No, this is awesome. Thank you again. Again, I can't wait for running backs. Viewer discretion is advised. Again, not everything. There's going to be a guy missing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Sure. Yes.
But I will show him love when we get there.
Our audience understands you. We speak Brockettology, so we understand the formula.
Thank you. Thank you. It's the hardest formula ever, but it's so easy once I write it down.
It's Rocket with the T, with an extra T.
Daggone right, baby.
So next week we'll start looking at the running backs and also that defensive line as we are getting closer and closer to the draft. Don't forget, on draft night, boom, we've got our draft show. There it is. We're going to be there. We'll be counting down where the Bears, what they're going to do in the draft. Are they staying put? Are they going up? Are they going down? We're going to find out on draft night right here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. For Brockettology, I'm Jay Hood. Thanks so much for checking out Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. So long, everybody.